Good evening, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, 10:05 p.m. I want to update you on a couple of things regarding Hurricane Matthew. First of all, this is the center of circulation out here, moving between Cape Fear and Cape Lookout. And for all of you folks here in eastern North Carolina, along Highway 17 up through here, and then 64 out to the Outer Banks, and then the Outer Banks proper, you don't need me to tell you, you're getting ready to get blasted from this system. It's a Category 1, but that's a Category 1 hurricane. That means it's got all the impacts of any other hurricane. It's just of a lower magnitude overall. But that being said, what's happening down here and what has happened in southeast North Carolina, northeast South Carolina being any indication, you folks here in down east North Carolina, the Crystal Coast, the Outer Banks, you guys are in for a rough night. And because it is during the night, it's going to be magnified because you can't see as much. The power is going to be out. Number one, don't drive anywhere, please, please, please. I was contemplating maybe heading up to New Bern for the high tide coming up around 3 a.m. and even for a brief second thought in my head, maybe I should go to the Outer Banks because look at that. But I mean, that could be a death sentence if you try to drive around. And before you say, oh, Mark, come on, it's a Category 1. Well, let's talk about the pine trees that could fall on your vehicle or whatever, okay? You run off the road because you swerve around something, large oak tree branches, there are all sorts of hazards. And you think about these roadways in North Carolina, Highway 17, Highway 70, east, 64 east, going out towards the Outer Banks, etc. Jacksonville, New Bern, up through Washington, Greenville, and points east, Elizabeth City, and then out on the Outer Banks proper. You guys just have to hunker down and get through the night. Now, there will be some storm surge flooding depending on the flow. You have the Albemarle Sound up in here, 3 to 5 feet of surge in any of these places depending on the wind direction and the orientation of that wind with each of these bodies of water. North Carolina has a complex waterway system with our large rivers and the mouths of these rivers. And the sounds, you have Roanoke Sound, the Albemarle, the Pamlico, and then you have these little corners down here where, for example, Cape Hatteras bends over to Hatteras Village, and you have Rodanthe out here on the easternmost side. Then you have Oregon Inlet, and then you have the sounds up here along the northeast part of the state into southeast Virginia. The other issue, this radar reflectivity is showing us tremendous amounts of rain pinwheeling over the same areas, all the way back even into areas like Raleigh and the Triangle. Oak trees down, I'm hearing major flooding back in the Sandhills, but all of that has basically shifted out towards the eastern part of the state. And I'm just giving you a heads up. This is going to be probably the worst that we have seen in eastern North Carolina, despite this being, quote, a Category 1 since Hurricane Floyd 17 years ago. And I am absolutely serious about that. Remember, Floyd was weakening when it made landfall. It was down to a Category 2, so this is not that much weaker than Floyd wind-wise. I would have to go look at the pressure on Floyd for a comparison if I really wanted to. But all of this heavy rain, the massive power outages, and the total disruption of I-95 coming down the eastern part of the state, Highway 17 like I talked about. This is going to be something else, one for the record books, and I want you guys to be safe. So pass along this video to other folks who may be thinking, well, I don't know what's going to be happening. Well, this radar really tells the story that there is a lot of energy left with this system, and anywhere in the eastern third of North Carolina, you are under the gun over the next 6 to 12 hours as this moves through. All right, wish I had better news, but sometimes it is what it is. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'll have more for you tomorrow.